Hi, this is Dana, and on this channel I speak about spiritual warfare. In this video, I am guided to talk about to do some sort of references to the Karmic board meeting, which will take place in almost a month from now. So it's pretty close. As you know, the Karmic board meetings, the overall and individual situation is being reevaluated, decisions are being made, dispenses are being given, cycles are being closed, relationships, contracts, and so on are being closed, nullified. So very important decisions are made by the Karmic board meeting, which takes place twice a year, June and December, right? So this is very important moment. You even might have, and I did it myself, I worked with specific individuals from the Karmic board, and some of the spirits, souls from Karmic board might be connected directly to your lineage in one way or another, or to the bondage that you are breaking, and they are willing to help. So it's very important how you address. Now, when you are preparing and talking, addressing the Karmic board, essentially you should keep in mind that you should behave like you would be in literally a court of law, a 3D court of law. Pretty much is the same sort of procedures, and you take upon the same type of protocol, even in the way you address the written letter, and if you want to engage directly, you can also speak to the Karmic board meeting, depending on where you are in your spiritual path, how much presence you have in astral, and so on, and of course pending if they accept a dialogue with you. But the astral letter you can write anyhow, regardless of any of these situations and characteristics. You can write the astral letter. Anybody can do it, and you should do it, because first of all it helps you as well to put first of all in perspective your own situation. You will be more tempted to do a thorough evaluation, and your astral letter will be sort of like a point of reference. You will be able to understand the divine guidance that you are receiving, because you will ask questions in the astral letter, or you will ask for help or something. And since you keep this in mind as a point of reference, then when you receive guidance or help from the divine realm, you will much easier be able to observe it, to notice it, to take it in consideration. Otherwise, many times you must know this, that darkness is playing a role, an active role in trying to distract everyone, to create deception and traps, to keep you busy and trapped, in order so you do not see the help you receive from divine realm. But otherwise, the help from the divine realm is constant to each and every single individual. It's just a matter of you keeping in touch with your divine spirit team, and observing actually and noticing what is being sent by them to you. And of course, this can be done only with higher energy awareness. If you don't work on your energy awareness, meaning if you don't clean your energy, don't cut cords, and don't do self-healing and so on, then obviously that you will not be able to observe and notice and take advantage of the help that you are being offered by the divine team. So this is important. Also, it is important for another reason. The work with God in spiritual fighting, it's much more different than the work with the Karmic board. It's entirely different. God has his own strategies, and this is why you should get to know, and this might be a topic of discussion between you and Karmic board meeting, asking in your astral letter to become aware, informed, and aware of who is in your spirit team, because this is very important. For example, in my spiritual fighting, I have totally different kind of interaction relation and work relation with God, as opposed to Jesus, as opposed to the karmic board. Entirely different. And many others that are in my spirit team. But this is what I mean to say, that each of them has a different role, because each and every one of them has different connection to you. And they have different roles in the divine realm. And for example, God will ask you to do things without telling you why. Because God is essentially trying to break protocol each and every single time when He wants to help someone. He's trying basically to take you through darkness, so you don't see anything around you. He's not allowed by astral rules to tell you, but still He's envisaging a strategy in such a way that if you really are obedient and follow Him exactly and do exactly what God tells you, you will succeed, and you will understand how you succeeded or what you defeated only when you get to the other side. This, you must understand this. This is very important, because most times these bondages, you are in a test. So since you are in a test and you're supposed to break the bondage, He's not always allowed by astral rules to tell you. For example, I'll give you an example. When I started working with my gifts, and I realized that many of the things that I was doing were spiritual gifts, and it was spiritual fighting in dimension in them. It took, as I explained in other videos, it took time for me to actually accept this idea. And then at some point, of course, I started working with God specifically, being aware, that we are in a spiritual war, and I am basically training to defend myself and clean myself from what is sent to me. So that was much later. Up until then, I just figured this is the normal relation you have with the divine realm for everyone. So when I started working with my gifts, there are many from the divine realm who came to me. And the initial, basically when I did when I started the prophetic writing page, right? I did a number of readings, and I was initially guided to do readings, and I'll give you an example. For let's say half a year, each and every single individual that was guided to come to me to ask me to do reading for them, to me it seemed extremely beautiful, because then I had God, I had Jesus, I had Virgin Mary, and many, many others from divine realm coming to me and asking me to help a certain individual, to give a reading to them, and so on. And I found it extremely beautiful, because I had a direct work relation with them, which I didn't have before. I never done readings in my life. I only had individual dialogue with them. So when they would disclose to me things, and I would tell to those people, and they confirmed everything that I was saying, that seemed spectacular to me. When I discovered it, I was not using any kind of cards or anything, but what I want to say is that each and every single individual who came my way to ask for a reading, I did the reading, and at the end of the reading, I realized this was a message from my divine team. So my divine team would bring to me individuals to ask for readings, and discovering the answer to that situation for that individual was in fact an answer to one of the situations that I was facing. But they were not allowed by astral rules to tell me that. But in order to help me, they would bring to me individuals who were going through exact same situations. In such a way, they would help me with the reading. And after I was done with the reading, they would give me a sign, apply this to you. This is an answer to your situation, which they were not allowed by astral rules to directly tell me, because that was the answer to the test, right? Or as I explained in other writings, many times the bondage is created they have a secret, a seal, an energetic seal, a password encoded in such a way so it won't be, that truth won't be discovered by anyone except with those who have the password to it. So because of this, they would help me this way. So this is what I mean. You need to engage, and you need to use the karmic board meeting, because this is the a moment when they make decisions, and they can actually give you more help than over the next 6 months, because you have an opportunity to directly engage with them. So you should ask, you should make your confession depending on where you are in your spiritual journey. If you are going through redemption, or you have done something which is precluding you to ascend, which implies that you should do redemption soon, or spiritual fighting if that was done against you. Now, this is an opportunity to ask guidance on how to achieve that, how to achieve the spiritual fighting and to break what was created against me, how to achieve the redemption. Because many times I see a lot of reluctance of on many individuals who went through judgment, and they suddenly somebody's upset. They went through judgment, and they are going through punishment, and they refuse to do the redemption. They continue the same type of attacks. They continue to send and make alliances among themselves to help each other, to bring down those who actually they seek to steal from, so they can transfer karma, or to subdue in some way, either by sex magic, either by black magic, either by death, either by so this is very awkward to me, because many times the redemption path might be quite similar to the normal spiritual fighting. So I don't understand these people. They're simply not willing to turn back home to God, I guess, because there's no other explanation why would they do this. But the karmic board meeting is an opportunity for everyone to actually address and ask guidance, how redemption should be done in your case, how spiritual fighting should be done in your case. Now, you have to do bondage breaking. This is the essence of spiritual fighting. You should ask, what bondage I need to break to move forward, because the relationship with the karmic board is much more formal, much more professional, let's say. With God many times, as I said, will ask you to do things without telling you why. And God, one thing that I would point out always in working with God is that God will put you in the most absurd situations, because God works, that God makes miracles. And God's miracles are supposed to bring faith in people, or increase faith in people, if you want. I don't know, to create a direct connection. When God does something, it's very dramatic. Although He has a very soft heart and warm heart and lots of love for all humankind, but when He does something, it's always supposed to be very clear that only God could have done this. So a miracle. So He will take you to situations where basically it's absolutely impossible for you either to survive or to win or to get out of. This happened to me so often, I cannot explain. And He does so, first of all, in order to teach you something, but then in order to teach your opponents something, namely, because they are non-believers. You see, these individuals, they're crazy lunatics. They don't want to stop. They don't want to turn to God. They don't believe that God can help them. They believe that they will achieve whatever they want through darkness. So when God works directly with you, He will aim to change that fake belief in their mind and show to them what kind of amazing victory can get an individual against all odds, against a losing hand of poker, against anything in the world, if that individual works with God. So when you work with God, things are mostly unexpected, unbelievable. They're most dangerous, most sudden, and sometimes most frustrating, because he's gonna always push you beyond your limits. For example, Jesus works totally different with me than God works. This is why the karmic board meeting is very important, because it's an opportunity for you to gain a little bit more detailed information. Maybe you can ask for specific ancestors, or if there is a bondage that you want to break, you can ask permission to do that. You can claim that bondage. You can claim anything you want. If the karmic board meeting decides that you can achieve it, they will give you guidance how. You can claim a ranking. You can claim activity, a gift, whatever you want, an identity, an embodiment, whatever you want. This is why, to me, it's so bizarre that these individuals are doing so much harm upon those of us who elevate, simply because they can claim what the fuck they want from the divine realm. They don't need to harm us to take it. They don't need to steal from us to get these things. They can get their fucking own if they talk to the divine realm and they do the work. I really don't get this thing where they are so obsessed in stealing from us, bringing us down. I really don't get it. But the point is, with the karmic board, you can have a professional, applied, systematic discussion. This is why it's important for you to write this letter, because also it will help you clear your mind and structure your ideas about where you are, where you're going, how you're going to get there, and so on. So you can also, if you are thinking of redemption particularly, but not only in that case, also if you're doing spiritual fighting, you can ask what good deeds you can do. Good deeds always bring divine grace. This is the most spectacular healing that you can get, the deepest healing that you can get. So everyone needs divine grace. So everyone is supposed to do good deeds. Now, in this topic, you can either propose some good deeds which you want to do, or you can ask the divine realm to help you, guide you, what good deeds you could do in order to help your situation. Okay? And through good divine grace, you must know that you get accelerated, you get points, sort of say. God is saying to me, you get points. You get points in terms of accelerating your elevation. So it helps you elevate faster if you do this. And good deeds can take many forms. Usually your good deeds should show that you changed something about your faults. But I'm not going to stick into this, because this is a whole broad discussion. I'm not going to get myself into this. But there are many situations in which your good deeds actually will repay you later on in life when you have no idea. And I'll give you one example. I wrote a prophetic writing about this one time when I was in Latin America. I needed help at some point during my spiritual journey, and at least in 4 different circumstances in totally different countries, even on different continents, it happened to me that in the most dangerous situations, where I was in the most dangerous situations or in the deepest needs, I received help from individuals, from Albanian individuals, from Albanian individuals, and I saw the pattern at some point. I didn't know any of them, I just met them during my travel, and I asked God. I said, "How come, for the last few months, every single individual that helps me is Albanian? I don't, and they are very kind and offer themselves the help. I don't need to ask for anything. So it was very puzzling to me, and I asked, why is this so? So God showed me that my spiritual journey was in 2019, right? So it was 10 years before that. I was diplomat posted abroad working on a specific number of files, and one of the files that I was assigned was Kosovo, which was at the time in a huge scandal debate about their independence. There are countries who didn't recognize Kosovo's independence. There are countries who actually endorse it, right? And the Minister of Foreign Affairs asked me to return to the capital and to take the position of director for the department dealing with Kosovo. He said, we are sort of isolated on the international scene. Our position is against most of the others. And I need you to take up this department, to lead this department, to be director of this department or director general, so you can, because we need to make, to advance on this topic. And I refused it. And I told him, I said, first of all, I don't agree with Romania's position on the topic. I think it's stupid. Second of all, this is a political decision, so I fully agree and understand that the political people should make the decision according to whatever political goals they have and whatever political alliance they have in Europe and so on. But the point is, if they wanted to adopt this position, they should have done totally different strategy long time ago. And I have dealt already with a file on CFE treaty where Romania's position was stupid, idiot, and imbecile. And I had to fight a lot, and I had to go through a lot of struggle. So I'm not willing to do this again. I'm not willing to do this with Kosovo, because I think it's a repetitive pattern where Romania is adopting wrong positions on foreign policy, specifically related to security matters. And I believe this is a foreign agenda which is running this government and this country. And I don't believe this is something that I want to associate myself with. Because we were discussing my return to the capital anyhow, it was just a matter of deciding which department to take. So I wanted to take a different department to lead, and he was trying to convince me to take this one with Kosovo. And in the end, I rejected. And I said, no, I don't agree. So if you cannot give me a different department, then I don't come back, or I come back and I don't take a leading position. I just take a desk officer position, and that's it. But I'm not doing Kosovo. That's the point, because I don't believe this is right, what is happening right now. And I don't see the point. You're not getting anywhere. You're just unbalancing the entire process on a global level on this topic and on many other topics. And I don't understand why to do this. Anyhow, the point is, God has shown me Albanians in Astral. It was recognized at the time, they were recognized at the time, two different things, which I was completely unaware of at the time. Imagine, we are talking about 2008. Okay, so I was completely unaware of all of these issues in Astral. And God has shown me at the time when you did, in 2008 and 2009, when you did this, it was noted in Astral, first of all, your ranking, your position and ranking at the time. And second of all, the fact that you rejected to work on this topic. And the Albanian community knows all of this, and they want to express gratitude to you, because if you would have taken that department with the type of ranking you had, you would have had a totally different force to push for that topic forward. So it would have had a totally different impact on them if you would have advocated officially that position, which was against their independence, of course. So you receive, so there are certain, basically at the time, 2008, 2009, My position and my rejection of that situation was totally altruist decision, and it was based on my own personal values of integrity and of professionalism, so because I didn't know I didn't know that anybody will take note. This discussion was just between me and the minister. Nobody else was around. I was in his office and we were discussing my return in the capital and what department should I take as a director or director general. So nobody knew. I didn't even imagine that somebody would hear about this. I thought it's going to be just between the two of us. So when you do something altruistic, this is a good deed. This was considered a good deed. And especially by the, by the Kosovars, of course. And because of this, they decided that they want to help me. They learned that I'm on a spiritual journey. The community learned, and they wanted to help me. And please keep in mind, this happened in a few countries, not just one. Okay, in a few countries. Good deeds are important, because you don't know exactly when you're gonna receive the reward for them, but it must be altruist gesture. So it must be honest, heartfelt. If you donate money, if you cannot donate money to a homeless person, and for example, I'll give you an example. God will always tell you. God comes, for example, if you have, let's say, a huge amount of money, so you're a very rich person, and you give them just like a few sandwiches, that doesn't matter like it's something extremely important that you have done. It does matter as a good deed. But if somebody who doesn't have money at all shares their own food with the homeless, that is considered much of a sacrifice and effort, much of an altruist gesture. Okay, so it also matters when you do a good deed. You must understand you cannot be faking in face of God or divine realm, because they know if that was indeed, if you did the most you could or not. Okay. For example, many of the people who would come initially at me asking for readings, God said, you never do readings for free. You never do spiritual work for free, because that gives power to vampirizing you. Any kind of entities, darkness entities, will vampirize you. Because you need to make an energy exchange, so they need to pay you. Or to give you some present, or to give you something in exchange. And many individuals, and of course I ask guidance, how much should I charge for a session, and many of the individuals that would come would say, I don't have money, I cannot pay because I don't have money. And I will ask God, is it true? Should I accept this? Is it true? And many times God would show me exactly how much of a lie that was, how much money they have, why they lied, and so on. So you must understand, good deeds really must be honest, must be according to your possibilities, and it must be heartfelt, and will be evaluated. So you must be honest when you do them. You must make sure that you actually are honest. You're not just superficially trying to cover up doing a huge murder crime or theft, and then just give a sandwich to a homeless and think you did a good deed to wash up whatever you have done wrong. So you must be very careful, and you must not expect this is what I wanted to point out with the Kosovo story. You must not expect immediate reward for your integrity, for your help, because I didn't expect anything coming out of my integrity on the Kosovo issue. I didn't even knew that anybody would learn about this. I didn't even imagine that, for example, the minister will acknowledge to everyone that I had this position. And also, I didn't mention it to anyone because I didn't want to embarrass the minister to know that I rejected an offer he made or something like this. But that doesn't mean I didn't receive the reward for it, as I could show to you much later, 10 years later, but in moments of great need from my side, because I was on travel and I couldn't get to my next destination, and so on and so on. And they helped me. Again, individuals whom I never knew. And they helped me honestly. They just came to me and in different circumstances would come and help and then leave. So it wasn't like they requested anything in exchange or anything. They just simply, this is why also I found it puzzling. I said, why for the last few months only Albanian individuals come to me and offer to help me? How is this happening? And God explained this to me. So you should ask what kind of good deeds you do, and you shouldn't just watch what kind of result you get from that. You should rest assured that you will get divine grace one way or another. And it might be that you don't know very soon why. It might be that the help, as I showed you, will come much later on. But you will, by that, contribute to your elevation. That must be clear. So I would point out two types of issues to discuss with the Karmic board for the meeting in June. One would be what is necessary and beneficial to you for your spiritual path, for breaking bondage, for elevation, for your spiritual elevation, for self-healing, and so on. So what should be done, what is beneficial for you to do. And also another type of questions would be about things that you want. Things that you want in terms of things that you want to achieve, to receive, to understand. Because, I mean, it depends a lot on how you function. Each individual works differently. For me to understand certain things, it's extremely important. Understanding, for example, in a bondage breaking, I'll give you one example and then I close because it's a long video. In ancestral bondage breaking, where you basically break a bondage from ancestral line, it means somebody else created this in a different life. It means you get to receive an embodiment from an activation of an embodiment from the divine realm in order to do that, right? Now, for me, usually, I ask a lot of questions. And I like to understand a lot about what happened there, about the individuals involved, and so on. For me, this is helping me to depersonalize the situation and to transmute darkness from the situation, from the relations involved, and so on. And this will also help you to detach much easier from that situation, from that place, from that individual. Because you understand this is not really something between the two of you. This is something that ancestral lines created, and the two of you were assigned to break. And once you broke it, then you can move on. You understand it's just a bondage to be broken, and that's it. I would recommend this, honestly. For me, it does a great deal in helping me to keep a higher perspective over things, always. This also helps you not to sink too deep into emotional relations with others. For example, many people have done extremely bad things to me, unbelievable. I've seen God angry at them so many times. But doing this, kind of depersonalizing the situation, also helps you not to sink for too long or for too deep hating them, you know, or having negative emotions towards them, anger or hate or so on. You clearly, if somebody is harming you, and you're going through pain and torture because of them, clearly you're going to have some emotions towards them. But understanding the entire bondage creation and bondage breaking, and understanding where this comes from in ancestral line, then this will help you to move on, to detach, to transmute. And this is what spiritual elevation means. This is what spiritual elevation means. You finish the fucking bondage and you move on. You don't stick to it. This is how you elevate. You receive another embodiment. You move on. And depending on what you have done in that bondage breaking, you receive your rewards in terms of ranking, of material rewards, and so on. Yeah. So all of this and much more can be discussed with the Karmic board during this Karmic board meeting. Now we're almost 1 month before, so this is a good time to start writing your astral letters, because at the Karmic board meeting decisions will be made. There are on my Facebook page for Prophetic Writings, there are a number of writings that I've done in the 4 years when I wrote there. Basically, I wrote every June and every December in preparation for the Karmic board meeting. And there are some writings in which I gave detailed examples of what you should write in the astral letter. I even printed an astral letter of mine, which I did, I think in 2019, yeah. I think that was exactly when I left on spiritual journey, because I left on the 7th of June, and I stopped first in Moldova, and that's where I wrote the first astral letter, public astral letter, to the Karmic board meeting, because it was not so much about my personal journey, but it was so much about public things which were regarding the public. And I was proposing there a number of structures to be created in order to aid everyone's spiritual fighting, because I still view it like it's very wrong the way it's happening, and more help should be given, and so on. But that's another discussion. I wrote there. You can check how I wrote, and it can maybe inform you. You keep the astral letter. Many individuals recommend you burning it. I don't. I believe it's a point of reference, again, which helps individuals to keep track of what they asked, in order to also make evaluation of what they receive, adjust, change, and understand some things which usually are not conveyed directly in dialogue with the divine realm. I'm gonna stop here now. Maybe I will make another video again about the Karmic board meeting if other topics come up, but otherwise I just recommend that you go check on my Facebook page, because there you will find every June and every December a few each time I write. I used to write like at least three prophetic writings dedicated to the Karmic board meeting, and even more sometimes. So that could help you. I'm not writing there anymore because I'm still preparing to relocate, to move from here into my new house, into my new beginning, in a totally different location than here. So I'm doing videos now. It seems this is what God wants me to do. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I will be happy to include the answer to your questions in the videos I make. I just wish you a lot of inspiration, like honesty and integrity in writing your letter to the Karmic board meeting. I'm really, really confident that you will discover an entire world and huge amount of empathy and help and willingness to help from the divine realm, regardless where you position yourself, in which camp, and what you have done so far. But even for those who have done wrong so far, I think it's even more of a help, because they might help you understand why you made the wrong choices, why you started doing harm, and how you can come back from that. So I'll talk to you in the next video.